So something that's interesting to note is that people that want to go to cash during a election year are super common. Money market funds, so that's like the cash fund in an investment account. You can have money market funds in the bank. They get a super small amount of interest typically. The holdings in those go way, way up during an election year because people get so nervous, but that's a mistake. And this is a analysis of 23 election cycles since 1932. It's a hypothetical $10,000 investment, and there's three different investment scenarios, three different investors here that we'll talk about. So the first person invested. So this is showing what this is showing. It's showing an investment over a 4-year, the entire 4-year election cycle, starting in the election year. Okay.
So it would have been like
investment.
this one would have been starting
in January
1 of this year.
And they've averaged the returns of the S&P 500 over these different election cycles to come up with these numbers. Okay. So the first person stayed fully invested. They started with $10,000 that they invested on January 1st of the election year, and they stayed invested the whole time. They got the greatest return. Okay. The second person made $1,000 contributions each month of the election year, January through October, and left their money in there for the entire election cycle, all 4 years. Okay. The third person was a nervous Nelly, and they thought, election years are kind of scary, and I'm kind of nervous about the stock market during election year and who's going to get elected, and I'll just wait to find out who's going to get elected and until things settle down, and then I'll invest my money. So they stayed in a money market account in cash on the sidelines until January 1st after the election year. Okay, they got the worst return. Now, this over here shows how many times each scenario or each strategy was the best outcome versus how many times it was the worst outcome. This one where people stayed out of the market was the worst outcome most of the time, hands down. The best outcome most of the time was just staying and being invested right away and staying invested the entire time.